Charlene versus Sue Fenn for a place in the final against Maxine Nabel. Next, it's Japan's Koichi Tak. Representing Malaysia, 20-year-old Charlene Zulkifli, runner-up in the 1996 World Cup in Northern Ireland, third a year ago in Cairo. Her opponent, the defending champion, Sue Fenn from Chinese Taipei, who won the title under the burning Egyptian sun in last year's exotic outdoor setting in front of the pyramids. Well, before they begin their 10-frame game, a reminder of the stepladder rankings. Waiting to face the winner of this match, Australia's Maxine Nabel, the week's most successful bowler. Her points, a combination of pins knocked down and bonus points on the right. Sue Fenn scoring 130 points more than Charlene in the preliminaries. Charlene having already beaten America's Janet Pazinski, who earlier today defeated Holland's Ross Greiner. We take a look first at Charlene, the Asian bowler of the year for the past 3 seasons. Right-handed with the strength to use a 16-pound ball. This is how she's been preparing for the big day.
We train full-time, especially the ladies team. In the morning, usually around 9 to 11, we go to the gymnasium and do our strength training or aerobic training or whatever. Then after that, we have a rest. We go for a massage or have some lunch. Then from 2 to 4 every day, we have our national training. And probably after that or before that, I'll bowl on my own a few hours, 1 hour, 2 hours.
And do you do that 7 days a week?
The national youth training is the national squad training is 5 days a week. But I train on my own in my bowling center on Saturdays or Sunday, but I take 1 day off. Yeah.
Sue Fenn, the reigning champion, winner of this year's Asian Tournament of Champions, and like Charlene, has achieved a perfect 300 game, 12 straight strikes. This is how she works out.
像我平常每天练球的时间大概2个小时，然后做一些重量训练。
A quick reminder of the pin layout. 1 is the head pin, 8 behind 2 and 9 behind 3 are the sleepers, and the gap between pins 1 and 3 is the pocket for these 2 right-handers. Well, I tell you, Bernard, this is a match that I'm really looking forward to. Sue Fenn there, the spinner against Charlene Zulkifli, the conventional bowler. It's Charlene who's going to be first to start. Sue Fenn, being the higher ranks, had the honour, but she's decided she wants to start on the right-hand lane. So it's Charlene on the left-hand lane, number 65, at this fabulous new bowling centre. Now, Charlene, if she starts like she did against Janet Pazinski of the United States, we could be in for a real cracking match. She reeled off 4 straight strikes to get herself going then. I'm really hoping that she can do something the same, because it might just well set this all alight. That's good. Now, I can tell you that, Bernard, not because of where the ball was going, but by her body reaction.
That's right, you did indeed. Look at it here again, straight into the 1-3 pocket. These Malaysians are just so well psyched into their game. They're really, they do a lot of training, and they're very, very well done in. As this girl here is, the defending champion. Now just watch the different style of bowling here. Watch the way the ball goes down the lane. Spot the difference? No turn. This ball is what they call a helicopter, a spinning ball. The ball goes straight down the lane, and it's turning on about the size perhaps of a 6-penny piece or a penny piece. It's just so little of the ball actually touches the lane. It spins what they call helicopter. Very, very effective, let me tell you, because she is the defending World Cup champion.
And this is also a very difficult technique to master. But it's quite interesting, the bowlers from Taipei, there's many of them who use this difficult technique.
Very difficult. A lot of people have tried it. It's not very easy to do, and it's always done with a very, very light ball. This is what's so confusing for people to watch it, that it's not the conventional way. The ball is so light, and yet the pins are the same weight. And this ball is probably a 10-pound bowling ball.
Well, in fact, it's just a pound heavier, but it is amazing the centrifugal force that comes off this ball. Watch it again, it's quite amazing.
Didn't didn't get it quite right there. Now, the ball didn't get hit in the right spot on the pin, on the head pin down there, because it actually deflected to the right. And you will see here now, watch the way the ball is twisting the thumb, and the thumb comes out and around the side. There you go, you see, and the fingers come out like first, the thumb out last, which is totally unconventional. And left herself a very difficult 2-4-8 are the pins left standing. You see it spinning like a helicopter, and the 8-pin remains.
The one that slept stayed.
Open frame in number 2 for the defending champion. Here you'll see it kicked away. A little bit more power perhaps in the ball. It might have just carried through to take out the 8-pin.
Su Fen on a mission here, one that's only been done once before. That by Jeanette Baker of Australia back in 1982-83 to defend her title. But before she gets to the final, she's got to get past Charlene.
Good one.
Strike 2.
Yep, all the way. You could see it from the time she released it. Now, there was probably a little bit of, watch this again. In it goes into the pocket and clears all 10 pins away. I was going to say, from Su Fen's point of view, by going in second, because the second player has 2 shots. They bowled 2 frames, whereas Charlene only had the 1 frame. I'd say from a little bit of tactics point of view, she went to get out with 2 maybe strikes and put the pressure on Charlene.
I think the important thing with Charlene at the moment is she's very much on the upward curve. She had problems finding her rhythm at the beginning of the week, which she admitted, and also wasn't getting the right messages, the right response from the ball. Now she's really on an upward curve, and I think that's mentally as well as technically, because that's 3 in a row.
Superb. Watch it again. Absolutely beautiful. Right in. All pins clear the back deck. All down to the carpet. She's happy. Yeah, a little bit of tweaking here. She's talking to Sid.
Needs to stay calm, though. I mean, it is exciting. Now, Su Fen, she's got to actually stay calm.
Yeah, you got to remember, she's only in here. She hasn't played in these lanes before. Charlene has had the advantage of playing on them.
But she is the champion. She knows how to deal with pressure. And she's the only reverse she really suffered was in the semi-final round against Maxine Nabel. Up to that point, she'd been leading right the way through the week, but then she really had a poor series in the semi-finals.
Just again, one can't understand why, you know, it's very difficult to keep in the ball. The pressure being the defending champion. I mean, to be here today is brilliant. I mean, don't forget, a lot of qualifying rounds and a lot of rounds to get to this point. Solid spare.
It's worth emphasizing that that was the last competitive game that she had, and she had a 1 win, 6 loss, 1 tie record, which is pretty disappointing.
Yes, and if you look there, 8 spare, 7 2 9 spare, as opposed to 3 strikes from Charlene. Needs to get a mark on the board very quick. By a mark, I mean a strike.
That's it. Must have heard you. And just as Charlene has a characteristic way of recognizing or signposting that a strike's coming up, so does Su Fen. Look at this.
There you see it. The ball just hits right of the head pin, but the spinning action on the ball, gripping the pins, shatters them, as I say, and all of them don't have a chance of standing up. Tremendous, absolutely tremendous way of bowling if you can do it.
Here comes Charlene, looking for 4 in a row.
Well, it certainly looked really good, didn't it? I mean, 10 pin just stays solid. Just didn't get the carry.
Something about the 10 pin in these stepladder finals. It seems to be the most reluctant of all pins. It's determined to make a name for itself. Just, of course, 20 years of age, born in London originally, but representing Malaysia. And in the last 2 World Cup finals, the silver medalist 2 years ago in Belfast. That's no problem, that's there. And last year, the bronze medalist in Cairo, but so much is expected of her. She actually expects so much of herself, but back home in Malaysia, where she's such a big star.
Of course, she's Asian Bowler of the Year again, and she's a big star.
Hasn't been the perfect year by any means. She got silver in the Commonwealth Games doubles behind Maxine Nabel and Cara Honeychurch, who were partners in that. But she really, this would really make her year if she could pull this off.
Four-pin this time. Really good shot. Now, that was a real good shot. Again, it's fractions. It really is just the fractions. And the difference is striking that pocket and getting the old carry to make all pins down. So it's 3 strikes, it's 2 nines.
Look at Su Fen just on the left there. She's actually looking straight down the lane. She's not taking any notice of this. She's in her own tunnel.
As the way she should be, focusing.
So, Charlene, the run of strikes has come to an end, but she's not made any major mistakes. Having said that, we're barely at halfway. So, frame 5 for the 24-year-old defending champion, Su Fen Sang. And that's a strike again, whips her hand across her waist to dismiss the balls. So that's 2 in a row for her.
Yes, here we see it again, about 10-foot, 12-foot short. She knows immediately that it's on the right track, hitting the right spot between the 1 and the 3 pin, and that results in a strike. A little double there for Su Fen Sang, as you can see. So we have a real game on here now.
Yes, this is comeback time for Su Fen. This is the test of a champion.
And it's a real test. Frame 6 on a double. Again, right side of the head pin. Plenty of pin action, and that's 3 in a row for the defending champion. And here we see it down over the 3rd arrow, and in she goes. Bing, and all down.
So maybe that's put a little question in Charlene's mind now. It's very tight.
There is really nothing between them. Looked good going down, but it just snapped a little bit too quick at the far end. Came in too high on the head pin.
Well, this should be straightforward for Charlene.
The 4 and 7 pin is all that remains there. Using her strike ball, you'll see that she'll change for some spares to a different, harder surface ball. No problem. Safe conversion. She moves to frame number 7.
Yes, she, of course, using much heavier balls, 16 pounds. Of course, has achieved the perfect score, 300 in 10-pin bowling. I suppose you could liken it to 147 on the snooker table. But, of course, the big prizes only come if you do it in front of the television cameras.
And that's not easy to do.
No, she's been bowling for 7 years. She's only 20, so in her early teens she took to this sport, but it's one of the reasons why she's at the top.
Looks a good release. Oh, that was really unlucky. Good shot. Got well through it. Looked good going down at this point here. The 4-pin refuses to fall, stays still. However, if she keeps making the spares, as Mr. Akagi talks to Bent Peterson, explaining to him how this game, I'm sure Bent knows very well how the game is played and scored.
So I must say, Bent looks a bit serious. He's been up enjoying the parties, I think, a little bit.
Solid spare. So in the 7th frame for Charlene, it's 3 strikes and 4 spares.
There's very little in this.
There it is. Very little is right. Su Fen is on those 3 strikes.
Is that gonna go?
That was real good. That was real good. 4-pin stays up this time for Su Fen. And that was for 4 strikes in a row. And that brings them now really, really close together in terms of scoring. It'll depend on if Su Fen makes the conversion here. And if she does, there'll be just 10 pins, the difference, advantage being to the Malaysian. Very safe. That's one thing about the spinners. They're real good spare bowlers because the ball doesn't move on the lane that much. So you can always bank on them being solid spare bowlers. There you see the difference. 125, 135, both on 9 spares. It's anybody's game right now. Who will make the break first? An open frame is going to be crucial should anybody be unlucky enough to do that.
Yes, I mean, it's really a case of who's going to crack.
Yeah, correct. 8th frame.
Su Fen looks so calm. It's another strike.
She keeps giving that signal to you. It is indeed. It's a strike in the 8th, and that's a very important strike. And here we see it again. It's such a simple style. Fingers go out, down the lane, spins the ball. There you go. There's the trip. She gives it. That's it. Get down.
Well, simple style, but very hard to execute at the level she's performing. Hours and hours, months, weeks, years to achieve what she's doing now.
And remember, last year she won when we played this finals in Egypt when it was outdoors.
Yes, what was it, 34, 35 Celsius, the blazing sun coming down, completely different conditions.
Uh-oh, I think you put her off there. No, but somebody did. Now, somebody's moved over. There you see somebody over the left-hand side actually moving, and that's really very distracting. They shouldn't be moving there while the players are on the approach.
Yes, that's very naughty.
Somebody will get him to sit down and be quiet. You've got to be very still. I mean, you got to think the number of people that are here. She's focusing on her spot on the lane. She's got to make sure everything is right. Back into the routine again. Don't let it distract you. There you go.
Well, she's done the right thing. She's gone back to base and rebuilt her approach.
Right. And that's part of the training. That's what you've got to do no matter what sport you're in. Oh dear. Oh dear. Now, that is not what was in the plan. Let's have a look at it again.
It's very nasty, this.
It seems good from this point here, but just at that point it seems to be breaking. You can see it's turning that little bit too quick, and it's coming in very, very tight on top of that head pin there. And I mean, in another case, you could get lucky. You could leave only 2, either one side or the other. Here, she's actually leaving, after leaving 4, the 4, 6, 7, and 9. Not easy.
This is crucial. I think she's got to try this. No.
Oh, she did.
Oh.
Worked.
Well, you've got to count yourself unlucky that she didn't get at least one of them.
Let's have a look at this, the way this... The 4-pin goes right between them, and does it stay? Look at this one, it stays. I don't believe that. Now, that is real unlucky. It's not going to fall.
It's like watching the ball on the edge of the hole, isn't it? Is it going to drop in or not?
Yeah.
And they never do they?
No, and that's like crucial.
You're waiting for the referee to turn around so you can just give it a little tap with your toe.
You know, we can smile, but Shalin's definitely not smiling.
She's got to get back in strike mode.
That's good, that's good. Look at that. Oh, it didn't fall. A good mix. It was a slight bit light, all right, but it just didn't get the correct mix. And the 4-pin decided to stay. Got a little tap, didn't fall. Here we'll see it again. Just watch the 4-pin. It does get a bit of a knock. Look, there you go. Oh, no, it's knocked off its spot, but wouldn't fall. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to get that strike there. However, spare still doesn't rule her out of the game, remember. She did have a 10-pin advantage, and she hasn't lost that yet. hurry. Whoa, she scared me there.
Well, this is the moment for Su Fen. She had a... By contrast with Charlene, who had a cracking start, Su Fen looked really nervous. Yeah. And now, in a funny sort of way, the roles have been reversed. Su Fen looks cool as a cucumber, and Charlene's the one who's edgy.
A little bit under pressure, yeah. Look how well focused she is.
Champions don't like to give up their titles, and this one isn't going to do it without a big fight.
Absolutely. Now, Charlene, look at there's the spinner. There's it, hits it. Watch the pins mixing. All the action that goes on in the pin deck.
Yes, great shot. Just runs across the face of the pins.
Beautiful.
And you just saw Charlene's head drop there. You sense that she knows that this is just beginning to drift away from her.
She can see the scoreboard just like you can there now. Su Fen, those 2 strikes in 8 and 9, and this is her 10th frame. A strike here could be detrimental for Charlene. Oh my God, that's beauty.
The flow of the ball out of her hand is just absolutely wonderful. It is so smooth.
Absolutely. It's just like, you will notice there is nothing. She has nothing on her hand. She's got nothing on the wrist. And you've seen all the other players in the past. They've got bandages here and bandages there. It's clean.
And Charlene's head's dropped just a little bit more now. No. She wasn't quite. She held back on the hand movement there. She
wasn't far enough on the right side, but still. It's given her a spare here, would give her a 2-2-3 game. I think just slightly beyond the reach of...
2-2-2 by my count. Oh no, 2-2-3, yes, that's right. Well, now it'll be 2-2-2.
Correct. Okay.
And Sid Allen going over there to offer his congratulations. He knows that this is beyond Charlene now. And you sense in her face that she's holding back her disappointment. As we've seen before with Fred Alsop, this is, in a way, it's a bit cruel that you have to bowl out, but...
Has to be done.
That's the rule of the game.
There, that's what Charlene needed in the 9th or the 8th frame. That's what she needed. She gets it in the 10th when it's just too late. But that's the cruel game of 10-pin bowling. When it gets to that stage that the pins remain on the deck and don't fall. And there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. And I have to say, for Charlene Sukufli to be in all finals in the World Cup, 3 out of 3, it shows the type of player that she is. 9 count there. She will have 1 more shot at that, because getting a strike in the 10th frame gives her 2 extra shots. So she makes a spare there, will give her a 199 game.
I think, though, there's a sense of, you know, having got this far 3 times, she's going to really wonder whether this is ever going to be her competition. Takes it out for 199, as you say, and I think there's a little tear coming. And appreciation there for Charlene, but the congratulations go to Su Fen, who records the victory by 23 pins, and now she has the chance to defend that title against Australia's Maxine Nabel. Well, in a moment, the thoughts of Su Fen Seng.
也是很紧张啊，我就让自己尽量的静下来，然后想想球队怎么打这样子。
So it'll be Maxine Nabel against Su Fen Seng for the women's title. But coming up next, the match that will decide who will go into the men's. Representing Chinese Taipei, the defending champion Su Fen Seng, the winner a year ago in Cairo under the burning Egyptian sun in the exotic outdoor setting in front of the pyramids. Her opponent from Sydney, Australia, Maxine Nabel, gold and silver medals in this year's Commonwealth Games in Kuala Lumpur, and the top bowler of the past week, having accumulated 10,237 points. That total being the number of pins she's knocked down, plus bonus points for her victories along the way. Maxine, in fact, finishing 153 points ahead of Su Fen, who defeated the 1996 runner-up Charlene Zulkifli, who previously beat fourth place Janet Pizinski, who in turn held off Ross Greiner in the opening stepladder match. Well, before the final, a look back at a crucial moment in the previous match between Su Fen and Charlene. Charlene about to bowl in the 8th frame.
Uh-oh, I think you put her off there. No, but somebody did. Now, somebody's moved over. There you see somebody over the left-hand side actually moving, and that's really very distracting. They shouldn't be moving there while the players are on the approach.
Yes, that's very naughty.
Somebody will get them to sit down and be quiet. You've got to be very still. I mean, you got to think the number of people that are here. She's focusing on her spot on the lane. She's got to make sure everything is right. Back into the routine again. Don't let it distract you. There you go.
Well, she's done the right thing. She's gone back to base and rebuilt her approach.
Right. And that's part of the training. That's what you've got to do no matter what sport you're in. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now, that is not what was in the plan. Let's have a look at it again.
It's very nasty, this.
It seems good from this point here, but just at that point it seems to be breaking. You can see it's turning that little bit too quick, and it's coming in very, very tight on top of that head pin there. And I mean, in another case, you could get lucky. You could leave only two, either one side or the other. Here, she's actually leaving, after leaving four, the 4, 6, 7, and 9. Not easy.
This is crucial. I think she's got to try this. No.
Oh, she did.
Oh. Worked. Well, you've got to count yourself unlucky that she didn't get at least one of them.
Let's have a look at this, the way this. The 4-pin goes right between them, and does it stay? Look at this one, it stays. I don't believe that. Now, that is real unlucky. It's not going to fall.
It's like watching the ball on the edge of the hole, isn't it? Is it going to drop in or not?
Yeah.
And they never do they?
No, and that's like crucial.
You're waiting for the referee to turn around so you can just give it a little tap with your toe.
You know, we can smile, but Charlene's definitely not smiling.
She's got to get back in strike mode.
That's good. That's good. Look at that. Oh, it didn't fall. A good mix. It was a slight bit light, all right, but it just didn't get the correct mix. And the 4-pin decided to stay. Got a little tap. Didn't fall. Here we'll see it again. Just watch the 4-pin. It does get a bit of a knock. Look, there you go. So, oh, no, it's knocked off its spot, but wouldn't fall. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to get that strike there. However, spare still doesn't rule her out of the game, remember. She did have a 10-pin advantage, and she hasn't lost that yet. Oh, hurry. Oh, she scared me there.
Well, this is the moment for Su Fen. She had a... By contrast with Charlene, who had a cracking start, Su Fen looked really nervous. Yeah. And now, in a funny sort of way, the roles have been reversed. Su Fen looks cool as a cucumber, and Charlene's the one who's edgy.
A little bit under pressure, yeah. Look how well focused she is.
Champions don't like to give up their titles, and this one isn't going to do it without a big fight.
Absolutely. Now, Charlene, look at there's the spinner. There's the, hits it. Watch the pins mixing. All the action that goes on down the pin deck.
Yes, great shot. Just runs across the face of the pins.
Beautiful.
You just saw Charlene's head drop there. You sense that she knows that this is just beginning to drift away from her.
She can see the scoreboard just like you can there now. Su Fen those two strikes in 8 and 9, and this is her 10th frame. A strike here could be detrimental for Shalin. Oh my God, that's beauty.
The flow of the ball out of her hand is just absolutely wonderful. It is so smooth.
Absolutely. It's just like, you will notice there is nothing. She has nothing on her hand. She's got nothing on the wrist. And you've seen all the other players in the past. They've got bandages here and bandages there. It's clean.
And Shalin's head's dropped just a little bit more now. No. She wasn't quite. She held back on the hand movement there. She
wasn't far enough on the right side, but still. He's given her a spare here, would give her a 2-2-3 game. I think just slightly beyond the reach of
2-2-2 by my count. Oh no, 2-2-3. Yes, that's right. Well, now it'll be 2-2-2.
Correct. Okay.
So back to the present. Su Fen, 24 years of age, bronze medals in the 1995 World Championships and the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Challenge. This is how she's been preparing to defend her title.
像我平常每天练球的时间大概2个小时，然后做一些重量训练。
Maxine Nabel, 21 years of age, this her World Cup debut. 7 times she's thrown 12 straight strikes for a perfect 300 score. This is how she combines her sport and her work.
I work for a doctor. I'm a doctor's receptionist, and I have a fantastic boss. I finish work every day at 1 o'clock, and he lets me off to go and practice in the afternoon. So I'm really lucky on that count. I've been working for him now for 2.5 years, and he's just great with time off. Like lately, this year has been, I think I've taken about 10 weeks off in the year, and I keep returning to work thinking I'm not going to have a job, but you know, he's quite pleased with you know, with my work when I'm there, and he's a great boss. He's just fantastic.
Before they start, a quick reminder of the pin layout. 1 is the head pin, 8 behind 2 and 9 behind 3 are the sleepers. The gap between pins 1 and 3 being the pocket for these 2 right-handers. So now just 10 frames away from knowing who will be this year's AMF Bowling World Cup champion. It's Su Fen Seng, the defending champion, who's been put in here by Maxine Nabel on the left-hand lane. That's the lane the first bowler has to start in. And she likes it. And of course, that's the great start, isn't it, Bernard? Because immediately you feel good and immediately you send a little message to your opponents.
Certainly do. And this Maxine Nabel from Sydney in Australia is one very good competitor.
But again, a contrast in styles, the spinner and now the power.
Well, plenty of power. She is a very, very strong bowler. And here we see this ball coming down into the 1-3 pocket, just a little bit off center and not getting the full power strike. But she will take a harder surface ball and throw it at the spare. Safely converts a 9 spare in her first frame.
And again, like Shalin Zulkifli, who's ended up for the 2nd year running in 3rd place in this year's World Cup, has the power to use a 16-pound ball.
Very strong, very, very strong.
And not many of the women will be able to do that.
Not too many. Got a strike there, but again, she released it. It turned left very soon after she released it down the lane. Got over into the 1-2 pocket, which is the one that she didn't want to be in, but never mind. On the board was a strike, and that's what Maxine was looking for.
But she's in cracking form. Remember, in the semi-final round robins, she completely dominated everything. She won all 8 games. She beat absolutely everybody.
Incredible, yeah. She's a real top-class bowler, as is the defending champion here. Just a little bit too heavy there on the head pin. Just didn't drift far enough to the right as it normally does, as we will see here. Good release from it. Look at it again, spinning helicopter style down the lane. But here you'll see there's no shake of the arm from her. It hits the head pin very much straight on. Lucky not to get a split from it, but leaves the 10 pin standing.
Su Fen.
You'll also notice here again that she uses the same ball all the time for both strikes and spares because of the type of ball that she throws.
Happy enough with that. Really has been a model of consistency in the last couple of years. In Northern Ireland, 2 years ago, 96, she was 8th in the World Cup and, of course, champion in Cairo last year. And in 96, in fact, it was when Cara Honeychurch of Australia won the title, and that was the bowler who Maxine Nabel put out to represent Australia this year, but yet the pair of them actually won Commonwealth gold in the doubles in Kuala Lumpur. So the Australians have been going really well. Su Fen.
Once again, that one a little bit high in the head pin, just didn't get the same reaction. You'll see the pins don't bounce as much. If you look at it here, very much dead. There's not the same amount of action and life in the pin deck. Also, another thing that should be noted there as well, again, no wrist aids or no arm aids, no tape on the fingers, very much just straightforward.
And again, for this technique, the much lighter ball, just 11 pounds. Absolutely straight.
Bang on. And also notice that on Maxine Nabel as well, she has no supports on hands at all. It's all straightforward. Does have a few bandages, I suppose, for the fingers there, because, you know, with the heat and the amount of games they have to bowl here over the last 4 days, and every day, it's quite a lot. You heard her say the word carry. It just didn't carry. But a very strong, very, very strong bowler. Here you see it comes across 10 pin. It's going to stay where it is. Didn't quite get the action. Again, out comes the harder surface ball, which you throw it. That's it, hard at it, and that's nicely converted.
The thing that's impressed me about Maxine, every time we've had a chat, totally positive. Absolutely, there's no question about her going all the way. She's from day one, she's known where she wants to go in this tournament.
Once again, didn't get carry on it, but again, good ball. It's in the right area, it's coming in, it's only a question of time and it'll make its way up to the pocket. She just has to make a slight adjustment, but it's still very good. Great follow through. She's tremendous power in that ball. And watch it as it eats its way into the pocket there. Really, really unlucky not to get a strike. Just a little bit lacking the pin action.
Once again, the clean-up ball. Once again, no problem. But again, you saw the force there. The pin really being
bouncing off the bat.
Yeah. So at the moment, Maxine cleaning up, not leaving any open frames.
No, at this level, we don't need any open frames at all.
Su Fen just taking her time.
Well, the champion's been here before. She knows what it's like. See, that time she tried to just go away off the head pin, and you could see that she was more right than she needed to be, because the last couple of times she was just that little bit too heavy. Slight adjustment, leaves it too far right, has left the 2 and the 8, which is a sleeper. And for a spinner bowler, it's not really a difficult one. Just throw it straight at it and let the 2 take out the 8. There you see the 2 of them, one directly behind the other. And that's it. Just what was prescribed.
Tidies it up.
You can see a direct hit. That's it. 2 takes out 8.
So now into into frame 5. Just the one strike so far in the opening frame. Absolutely uncanny how she knows, but she does.
Once you see, she has her eyes set on a certain spot on the lane down there. Once it goes over that, she knows. You can see there it is, just off center on the head pin. Gets the action on the pins there, and she knows herself that it's going to be a strike.
What's the response? That's the response. A strike in frame 5 for Maxine Nabel.
Real good. Got the carry on this one. Ball right in the 1-3 pocket. Get the 10 pin out that time. No doubt about that.
This is awful close, this game.
2 pins there or thereabouts, I would say. Not too much. There you are. Another good shot.
Oh. And it just kicked over the 10. And that's power. Look at this. Watch the 10 pin on the left. It stays. And it goes. And she smiles. Well, this is really living up to what we hoped it to be, a really close competition between these two. I can't imagine what all that noise is behind. They should all be watching this.
Away with the hand again, and another strike for Sue Fenn.
And it really is virtually even Steven with half the match to go.
Well, Sue Fenn has been top of the leaderboard all week, only to be toppled, if you like, on the way through the round robin by Maxime, but they've been number 1 and number 2, and there's only 2 pins separating them as we speak.
Three in a row, 4 strikes in all for Sue Fen Seng. And this is truly a close final, far too close to call at this stage. This is strike for strike.
Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful bowling. Rolling at its best. I mean, both of these players, it's amazing. The 2 different styles. One who throws away it right, one who gets it back in. And, of course, the helicopter or the spinner from Taipei.
Into the 8th for Maxine. Only 21, but she seems so mature. And another one. And she's really in the groove now.
1, 2, 3, 4 strikes, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th frame, and that is putting it up to defending champion. She's definitely going to have to strike here in the 8th frame.
This is a great finale.
Right now, I think Maxime is about 15 pins in front, so Sue Fen definitely needs a strike here to stay with her.
Doesn't get it.
Again, was just trying to miss the head pin just slightly to get the little kick to get the split, and of course misses it totally. Watch this. There you go. Leaves it. The 1, 2, and the 8. Again, she's left that little 2-8 pin, which is left once before in the 6th frame. This time, the 1 pin is there alongside as well. So definitely a spare required in order to stay within range of Maxine Nabel. Very solid, very good. That wasn't an easy spare at that particular point in the game. She definitely needed to concentrate and get it done, and she did exactly that. So there you see on the scoreboard now that 7 spare there of Sue Fen could really have been, could have done with a strike at that point.
But she's still in this game. There's no question she hasn't lost the title yet.
Not by a long way.
But again, just to emphasize, strikes are really what she needs now. That looks a little better, and she just gets it.
The pin action again was good in the pit area. And here we have a chance to see it in slow motion again. She just gets it on the right-hand side of the 1-3 pocket, gets the old action, get down, and it takes a long time, but it does eventually.
So, of course, Sue Fenn was first to start, so she'll be last to finish. Maxine now to really apply more pressure, and she does so with a great strike.
That's a superb ball. Another very good one right out on the outside. Ball coming right in and getting great pin action down there. A nice time to get a strike. It's, what's that, 5 in a row there. Strike in the 9th for Maxime.
Going into frame 10.
She certainly didn't want to get in near that head pin, so she made sure she kept her well out of the right-hand side to avoid getting a split in the 10th frame. Didn't come up high enough, but very nearly got a lucky strike from it, as it turned out.
I was going to say, she wasn't far away from getting the rub of the green there.
But you see, she needs the spare here, in other words, to lock out Sue Fenn, and that's why she was veering away from getting a split.
Right, so just doing some quick calculations now, and she's doing the same. I think she needs a 7 or better to be certain. And Sue Fenn can do nothing about this. She can only sit. If she gets, I think this is right, if she gets a 6 or a 5, then it could be back in Sue Fenn's hands. And that's a 7. Would you believe it, Bernard? She's got a 7.
Yeah. In the last frame, leaving the 4, 6, 10. That's why she made sure she steered clear of that head pin in the 10th frame, that she wouldn't leave such a thing.
And that's the maturity. 6 would have allowed this woman to have tied. 5 would have given her a chance to win. But as it is, she can try and just bowl out with style, and that's exactly what she does.
There you see. Certainly, Sue Fenn Cheng has done a tremendous job here this week in trying to defend the title. She has performed extremely well, but she's come up against a very tough lady in Maxine Nabel from Australia.
And a strike in the 11th there means that were she to do it with this last ball, she could get to within 1 single pin. And I don't know whether she really would want to do that. She'd just think how frustrating that would be to be within a pin of at least tying for the championship. I'm not actually sure what the rules say if there's a tie. I suppose we have a bowl off, but that's academic. And she doesn't get it in the end. She gets 7 for 2-3-1, but by 4 pins, Maxine Nabel becomes World Cup champion for 1998. And Australia regain the title. They last won in the women's division by Cara Honeychurch in 1996. So at the age of 21, a major ambition in Maxine Nabel's relatively short career achieved.
Yes, it certainly is at her age to be first in the World Cup, first time in the stepladder final, and to go out as the champion. Absolutely tremendous, and well bowled and well deserved, and it's great for the defending champion as well, to Sue Fenn Cheng.
Indeed, and hopefully we'll see both of them again. But here's Ben Peterson, Executive Vice President of AMF Bowling Incorporated, to present Maxine with the World Cup. She is the champion, and now you can be sure the invitations to travel the world and compete will come flooding in. These, the final positions. And here's